Hello everybody at Liberty University. I'd like to welcome my family for my informative speech. This is my wonderful wife Lori, married 24 years, my son Brendan, and my daughter Victoria, and our adopted rescue pet Madison. She's gonna stand by and watch me get through this. Thank you. Hello again everybody at Liberty University. My name is Melvin Sisk and this is for my Communications Class 101. The topic I chose for my informative speech is going to be a common sea and anchor detail for a naval vessel or any military platform. The thing that's so interesting about this evolution is it could be anything from a small tugboat all the way to a 90-ton aircraft carrier. So it's an extremely difficult evolution that the Navy and all the military basically goes through every day. Normally an evolution of this scale will start usually months in advance. But prior to the day to getting underway, communications are paramount. Many things are going on. Medical records are getting taken care of. We're bringing on ship stores. We're fueling. Several things take place during this in order to get this ship underway safe and get out into international waters and perhaps across the Mediterranean or South America or wherever we may be steaming to fulfill our duties as the military. So basically, a harbor pilot will come on board a Navy vessel to help the commanding officer of the ship get the ship underway. What I need to stress about the whole evolution is safety. Safety in boating, any kind of waterway, navigation, pleasure crafts. We're talking about sailboats, pontoon boats, jet skis, regular skiing, even fishing. If you don't watch and listen and abide to all your safety rules, it could actually cost you your life. That's why it's so very dangerous. And as I'll show you in this video, communications are going to be the key. Not necessarily verbal communications, but we're going to talk a little bit about day shapes, different types of lighting, safety equipment that we might need to have with us as we continue to make this evolution a safe one. Anyway, the harbor pilot's on board. We're getting ready to get the vessel underway. Tugboats will come alongside and generally pull us from the pier. And as we back along the pier and get ready to get into the channel, a lot of things are going to be taking place on the bridge. Number one, back in Combat Information Center, the radar is going to be up and we're going to be taking fixes, fix being a position of the ship, in order to relay this information up to the pilot house, which will be taking a position as well, so we can determine exactly where we are and the right speed and direction we need to point the ship to get on out of the river and safely navigate this channel. So we're backing off the pier and we're out into the river. And I say again, Combat Information has just plotted a fix and finds us roughly 100 yards from the pier. So we'll relay a message to the pilot house via sound-powered phones, and basically what that is a headset that gives communications to the bridge to let them know where we hold us. So we'll send a signal up to the pilot house informing them that the Combat Information Center holds us approximately 300 yards from the pier. We'll give them an aid to navigation, which could be anything from a lighthouse, a jetty of land, a bridge that we may be picking up on radar. And once again, all this is generally found in charts. Another part of communication, we need to have our charts and publications, all our publications updated before we even start this evolution. So we'll find the nearest aid to navigation, which perhaps could, like I said, could be a lighthouse, could be a bridge, and we're going to let them know the distance to that. We're also going to let them know the distance to our nearest hazard to navigation, which perhaps could be, generally when you're pulling out of a pier and getting ready to get into a river, it's usually shoal water, which is a depth of water outside of the channel, which if you're on an aircraft carrier or a ship that produces a very large draft or depth under the water level would have a much easier chance of running aground. So we're out on the river and we're taking fixes. Communications start. Okay, we're giving our information to the pilot house. The pilot house is either taking those recommendations or they're taking the navigator on the bridge's recommendations. They're also going to be taking and plotting a fix, but they're going to be doing theirs visually. They're going to be looking outside, they're going to be standing on the bridge wings of the ship, and they're going to be giving visual and shooting visual tangents to land in order to create that fix or position where we are. So what we'll basically do is we'll match those positions up and determine where the ship is. That way the pilot that we brought on board can give a recommendation to the commanding officer or the officer of the deck, whoever is in charge of the ship at that particular time, and he will make a recommendation to the helmsman, which communications are more and more important. They're going to make that recommendation to the helmsman. The helmsman will relay that down to engineering. Therefore, engineering can put those qualities or whatever we're asking for into either our engines or our steering to make sure that we get on a good course and a good speed to navigate out of this channel. So, hypothetical, we've taken a couple of fixes, and we're out in the Elizabeth River. Combat takes another fix, or Combat Information Center takes another fix. The navigators take another fix, and we determine that we're in the middle of the channel, right where we need to be, and a sailboat decides they want to cross our bow. Well, if you're a ship in excess of 70 tons, perhaps even 90 tons, like I said earlier, you're not going to be able to slow that ship down. So once again, communications are going to be a major factor. We're going to have to let that sailboat know via the ship's whistle generally to stand clear. We may jump on a UHF, VHF radio, try to radio the sailboat to let them know that they need to stay clear of the channel. It's an ever going situation. You're going to have so many pleasure crafts. They're going to want to come up and look at the vessels. They want to look at all the naval vessels, the Army LAC V-30s, the Navy landing craft, air cushions. Everybody wants to get up and get a good look at them because they love what we do. In theory, most people love what we do in the military. So once again, communications seem to be the key here. As we progress down the river, we may be coming up to a merchant vessel who is coming into the channel as we're leaving. This is really important, especially if you have a foreign ship that's coming in where English is broken and we're having a hard time communicating. Generally, there's going to be two sets of rules. There's going to be an inland set of navigational rules, and there's going to be an international set of navigational rules. Now, as I said before, we took a pilot on as we're leaving. There's almost 100% chance that they took a pilot on as they're coming into the port. So we're gonna have a little help here with the communications on the bridge. We're just going to make sure that we get a fair passage. Most generally, it's going to be a port-to-port passage as we're steaming, red right returning, as part of our buoy pattern. And as I said before, some other communications that we use are day shapes. Several day shapes that we use. The most common one is when we're in a channel and we've set the sea and anchor detail, it's going to be restricted maneuverability. Restricted maneuverability day shape is going to be a ball, a diamond, and a ball. And that lets everybody know if we have no radios, we have no lights that we can send a signal by. They see that day shape, restricted maneuverability, and as I said, they know that we're restricted in our ability to move that ship. We cannot leave that channel as a ship that size. It's just, we'd absolutely run aground, and that's not what we want. I spoke to you about some other things. Safety being a big key when you're out on your pontoon boats or your jet skis.